Hey guys, what's going on? It's Kyger1324 up here today with the final part of the PS2 collection. It's been a long set of videos, 6 videos for one collection. That's mental. But it still makes me laugh when I go on YouTube and I see these people on YouTube saying massive PS2 collection and they have maybe like 100 games. While that is big to some, no offense guys, but yeah, definitely put this out there. This is definitely one of the bigger PS2 collections out there. I'm not saying it's the biggest one on YouTube, but definitely bigger than some's. I will say that, no offense to anyone, by the way. I'm just putting it out there. Toot my own horn, so to say. But yeah, the final part is finally here. I'm not going to talk too much. I'll talk a little bit at the end about the console itself and why I started collecting PS2 and what keeps me going with PS2 and all that. But let's just get straight into it. Time Crisis 2. Fantastic arcade shooters, awesome in the arcade. Great conversions on the PlayStation 2. To be honest, all the PlayStations have had at least one Time Crisis game on them, and they're great games. Really, no offense, if you don't have an old TV and the gun to play it with, they're not as good games, which is quite obvious. Then we got here Tiger Woods PJ Tour 2005. Another golf game based on Tiger Woods there. I don't really care too much about golf games, but sometimes a sports game every now and then isn't the worst thing. And then we got some more Ghost Recon games here. We got 1 and 2. Of course, it all started here. I thought Jungle Storm was the first one, but it weren't. It's this one. Yeah, these are great shooters. Tactical first-person, third-person shooters. And then we got Advanced Warfighter as well. This is different because on the PS2, this version of the game is a first-person shooter, whereas the Xbox 360 version of the game is a third-person shooter, at least the story mode. Tokyo Extreme Racer, another Ubisoft branded racing game. Yeah, it could be solid. I don't know a lot about this, but it looks alright for a racing game. Can't really say much. And then we got the Toka Race Driver series. We got the first one, second one, and the third one. This is almost like, I guess, Codemaster's answer to Gran Turismo or something like that. I think the only thing that can really compare to this game in today's modern era of gaming is probably Project Cars. It's similar to that in the sense that there's a lot of different race cars in this, and I really enjoy these games. I used to love playing them as a kid. And then we got some Tony Hawk games. We've got here, of course, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. Fantastic games. Put a lot of time back in the day on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. Loved playing these games as a kid. Not great at skateboarder in real life, however. And then we got American Wasteland, Project 8 and Proving Ground. American Wasteland is a pretty good Tony Hawk game, in my opinion. It's sort of the last Tony Hawk game that was actually really good. Project 8 was alright, but not as good. And as for Proving Ground, I've never played Proving Ground, so I don't know a lot about it. But everyone back in the day used to love playing Tony Hawk games. It's a shame they don't really exist anymore, and the last one that was made was a complete pile of shit. And then we got Splinter Cell and Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow, more known on the Xbox, but they came out on the PS2 as well. Good self-action shooters. Not much to say about them because I don't really play a lot of Splinter Cell. And then we got Rainbow Six 3. Yep, Rainbow Six. Yep, it all started somewhere back in the day. Rainbow Six, man. Of course, Siege is a very popular game. Excuse me. Theme Park World, originally on the PC. I believe it's made by the same company that made like Theme Hospital and stuff like that. It's a pretty good theme park game, management strategy game. It's not as good as Roller Coaster Tycoon, mind you. The X-Files, Resist or Serve. Never watched the show, but it's a show that I'd probably enjoy. As for the game, it's sort of like a Resident Evil style horror game in the same sort of gameplay style. Then we got a very underrated game, and that's The Warriors. It's based on the movie. I've never watched the movie, mind you, but this is sort of like a top-down beat-em-up like game set in, well, the movie, and it's made by Rockstar. This is actually one of the lesser known Rockstar games that people actually forget about, but it's a fantastic game. Then we have The Thing, based on the movie. It's a pretty generic game, however, there's some cool aspects to it, like if you're outside for too long, you'll freeze to death and stuff like that, which is interesting. Then we have The Sum of All Fears. Yeah, it's another Tom Clancy sort of first-person tactical shooter. Actually, surprisingly decent. Not terrible, actually. I've played this all the way through. Then we have the two Suffering games, Midway Horror games. Interesting games because you can play in first person or third person, at least on the first one. Not sure, I don't know about the second one, but I assume you can. Pretty decent horror games for their time. This was one of them games my brother had and I wasn't allowed to watch him play. But yeah, they need to make a new Suffering game. It'd be really cool to see. And then we have another Tiger Woods game, and that's 2004. And also 2003, so I've got 3, 4 and 5. Yeah, so cheap those games, sports games. I mean, I paid 10p and 5p for them. It's ridiculous. Then we have the two Thrillville games and Thrillville Off the Rails. Absolutely fantastic games these are. These are so much fun. These are like theme park creator games, but at the same time you get to go around, walk around your park and play arcade games and do quests. A lot of fun, actually. I had a lot of fun with these games back in the day. This was also on the Xbox 360 if you want a better version of it. Then we have, this is Football 2003, and it comes with an SCEE catalogue video as well. That's interesting. Well, it's a Sony Computer and Electronic Entertainment catalogue. Another football game, not much to say about it. Then we have the other two Time Splitters games. Absolutely fantastic games. This one was very good for its time. Not as good anymore, but Time Splitters 2 is still fantastic. Played it more on the GameCube, mind you, but the Time Splitters series as a whole is fantastic and need to make a new one. And then we got another Time Crisis, the third one, again, Namco game. Very fun games, hard games in the arcade, but if you know how to play them, you could probably beat Time Crisis within a few lives. Virtua Fighter 4, another Sega branded fighting game. It's more like Dead or Alive than any other fighting game. These are alright fighting games, but I don't... they're not as good as, say, Dead or Alive or Tekken, but they're still alright. Virtua Cop, this is, again, another first person, well not first person, on-rail shooter. Interesting game, yep. Pretty, I've never played Virtua Cop, so I don't know how good it is, but it's an arcade game. Beautiful Joe, this is an awesome game. This is sort of like a 2D side-scroller beat-em-up game, but it's really interesting. And the PS2 version of the game, because this was also on GameCube, well known on GameCube, the PS2 version has some Devil May Cry characters in there as bonus. Then we have Vex. Looks like another sort of average platformer action game. But looks alright. Vampire Knight, another Namco arcade shooter. Again, this one's more so like with vampires. So if you like House of the Dead, you probably would enjoy this. Viet Cong Purple Haze. Another Vietnam themed tactical shooter, I guess. I've got this on PC as well, I think. Then we got some WWE games. We've got the trilogy of SmackDown games. We've got WWE Just Bring It, Shut Your Mouth, and Here Comes the Pain. Just Bring It and Shut Your Mouth were decent for the time, but then they don't hold up very well. Here Comes the Pain, however, was absolutely fantastic, and it's still as enjoyable today as it was back then. Such a great game, lots of great arcade games. That was the game that sort of had great balance between arcade and trying to go into the realistic style of wrestling games that we know and love, I suppose. Reckless, the Yakuza mission, sort of like another Twisted Metal style game, vehicle combat game. World Rally Championship 2. Again, I love the World Rally games, such great racing games. I don't think this is I don't know if I've already shown this one or it's the third one. Worms 3D. I don't much care for the Worms games, the 3D Worms games. They were interesting to try something new, I'll give them that, but Worms to me has always been better as a 2D game than 3D. When I say 2D, on the 2D plane rather than the 3D behind the worm kind of thing. World War Zero looks like a pretty average first-person shooter. I think I played this on PC, and obviously my PC weren't great, so I didn't get a good experience from it. World Super Police, a police racing game, I guess. Escape from Buzzard Park, Woody Woodpecker. As far as I know, this is the only Woody Woodpecker game on the PlayStation 2. I love Woody the Woodpecker, or Woody Woodpecker, whatever you want to call him. Without Warning, another third-person action shooter, Capcom game. It looks alright. And then we got Wipeout Fusion. I don't much care for Wipeout. They're fun games, yes, they don't get me wrong. They're pretty good futuristic racing games, but I don't much care for them. Wild Wild Racing. I've got 2 copies of this game because the covers are different. So again, like I said, I normally remember the covers more so than anything when I'm buying PlayStation games. But this just looks like a dirt racing game. Looks average. Then we got here Transformers. Absolutely fantastic game. This in a lot of people's opinions is the best Transformers game ever made, because it's a really good game. I've heard great things about it. I've got 2 copies of that, I think. One of them don't work, I know. Total Overdose, a pretty fun arcade, sort of GTA style arcade game. It's alright. It's good, but it's not fantastic or anything like that. Torino 2006, of course, another Olympics game, Winter Olympics, mind you. Of course, I don't follow any Olympics really. Top Gun Combat Zone, yep, another playing game based on Top Gun, the movie. Never watched the movie, so I don't really care much about the games. So I don't know how good they are. Then we got Tony Hawk's Underground 2. Tony Hawk Underground, I do have. That's at my mum's. That's another one that's at my mum's. Tony Hawk Underground was a fantastic game. The second one was good, but it just wasn't. It was a good game, don't get me wrong. But for me, I preferred the first one over the second one. I used to love doing the free roam, 2-player free roam, and just messing around. Twisted Metal Black, great game, awesome series, vehicle combat series. I don't really much care for it. And here's my other copy of Wild Wild Racing. It's the same game, but the thing is though, it's the same game, I know that much, but it's got different developers. So I don't know why. It's the same game, but this one's made by Rage, this one's made by Explosive, or at least published by, but it's the same game because the back's got the same cover, the same writing, just the front cover is different. I don't know why there was 2 versions of this game. or at least 2 cover variants, and maybe because Rage went out of business and Explosive reprinted it, I guess. If anyone knows why, let me know. But yeah, that's one of the few games that I have that I've got 2 of, but the covers are different. Twin Caliber, pretty interesting top-down on-rail shooter. It's a top-down on-rail shooter. Similar gameplay to the Army Men Green Road game. Pretty interesting game. Turok Evolution, actually a good Turok game, and Turok originally N64 games. They are being remastered, however, on the Xbox One and PS4. Coming out next month. I don't really have a lot of nostalgia for Turok. Never had an N64 growing up. But I remember this game was pretty decent. True Crime, Streets of LA. It's in a wrong case, but yeah. This was a fun game back in the day. Used to thought it was one of the best games ever played. Played it again and it's average by today's standards, but back in the day it was awesome. Same with True Crime New York City. This was an awesome game back in the day. Unfortunately, I believe the Xbox version has a game-breaking glitch at the end, towards the end, and there's a fight that the game just keeps freezing on and you cannot get past it, and you lose your save file. But a pretty good game, cop sort of open world game. Truck Racing 2, very average truck racing game. Trivial Pursuit Unhinged. I actually played this with my mate Ryan one time. It's just Trivial Pursuit. And I got the most complicated question ever to do with like diamonds or some shit like that. And he got a question about The Simpsons. I was like, how the fuck is that fair? Oh, here's my other copy of Transformers. I've got 2 copies. Like I said, I'm sure one of them don't work. That's normally, if I normally have doubles, that's normally because one of them don't work. And then we got Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. I believe it's sort of an expansion pack to Virtua Fighter 4. Valkyrie Profile, another Square Enix game, Valkyrie Profile 2. I think I've heard good things about this game. I'm not entirely sure about it, so if anyone knows if this is any good, but this is another JRPG. So I've got quite a few actually. And then we got Urban Reign, pretty cool beat 'em up fighting game actually, pretty fun.
Move the toys out from under him. The toys out from underneath him.
Urban Chaos, this is actually a really good first-person shooter, actually. Surprisingly decent game. Underrated, very underrated. Unlimited Saga, another Square Enix title. I've heard this game's average, but it come in this nice case, and it come with the Final Fantasy X2 Prologue disc, which is why a lot of people bought this game back in the day. So I don't really know a lot about this game. I've heard it's average at best. So I'm nearly done anyway. It comes in this cardboard case, and the only problem with cardboard cases is the condition just fails so much over time.
That's why it's been sick. You haven't even noticed.
Underworld, The Eternal War. I actually loved this game as a kid. Surprisingly, never watched the movies, mind you. It's a top-down sort of twin-stick shooter style game. Pretty fun co-op game. Loved playing it as a kid. And then we got World Tour. This looks like an average sort of like, I guess, scooter themed game. But it's made by Crave, and I'm sure Crave made either the Dark Souls or Bloodborne game, one or the other, which is really interesting to see how they've gone from that to that. Warriors Orochi 2, yep. Obviously, I've got to have all of the Warriors games, and I love the Warriors Orochi series. The second one was pretty decent. I enjoyed it at least. Warhammer 40,000 Fire Warrior, first-person shooter set in the Warhammer universe where you're playing as the Tau Empire. It's a pretty decent game from what I remember. And then we got Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit. This game's meant to be 2-player, but for the life of me, I can't figure out how to unlock 2-player. Other than that, it's average. I love the TV shows or specials or whatever you want to call them. World War II tank battles, budget tank game. I don't know how good this is. And then World War II Soldier, again, budget, first person shooter. Looks terrible. I'm not sure if I played it. I'm sure I might have given that a go. And then we got SmackDown vs Raw 2007. Love these, the old SmackDown vs Raw games. 2006. And then, of course, the original SmackDown vs Raw. A lot of nostalgia for these games. Used to love playing them, getting them every year. I still get all the wrestling games every year. It's just a tradition for me. So yeah. Extreme G Racing, acclaimed title. I believe this is either a remake or a sequel to an N64 game. I'm not entirely sure. Xenosaga 2. One of the more rare games again, and I've heard great things about this game. Of course, comes with 3 discs, a movie disc, the thing, big here. I've heard great things about these games. I think a lot of people actually say that the first one is the best one, and either the second or the third one's the worst one. I can't remember. But these are sort of RPGs in this sort of futuristic mech universe. And then we got Extreme Express. Actually an interesting game here, a train racing game. I have no idea how this works, but it seems interesting. X Squad. EA game. Yeah, I actually played this game as a kid and I used to enjoy this game. Probably not a great game by today's standards. X-Men Next Dimension, an average fighting game with X-Men characters. Not very good. X-Men Legends 2, Rise of the Apocalypse, or Rise of Apocalypse. Absolutely fantastic games. Top-down beat-em-ups, precursors to the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. Very similar gameplay. And then we got the 2 Zone of the Enders game. Took me a while to find the second one. Absolutely awesome games. Mech games made by Kojima. Yeah, so Hideo Kojima made these games. So that says it all. I think the second one, a lot of people prefer the second one because the cutscenes are all anime cutscenes, where the first one was 3D rendering graphics. But yeah. And this also came with a demo of the Metal Gear Solid 2, so a lot of people got that for that as well. Yakuza, a PlayStation series that I really need to get into because I've heard these are great games. Beat 'em up, GTA. Well, these aren't like GTA. It's more beat 'em ups than anything. I've heard there's the 6th one coming out. I've only played the PS3 version of the game with the zombies in it, which I enjoyed, actually, surprisingly. Not a great game, but a lot of people don't say. But Yakuza 2 is very expensive. I don't know why. I think it went out of print. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why it went out of print, or something like that. And then we got 3 things left. Exploder Light, another one of these cheat accessory things. Actually, one cool thing about this, apart from you've got like MP3 visualizations, believe it or not, this could be used to make your PS2 run region locked DVDs. So, yeah, so if you didn't have a region 3 DVD player, which was quite uncommon back in the day, I mean today they're quite easy to get your hands on, and to be honest, Xbox One and PS4 are region 3 consoles, so the DVDs and Blu-rays are region 3, so that's why I love the Xbox One and PS4. But if you didn't have that and you had this, you could play the region 1 DVDs, or if you're in the USA, you could play your region 2 DVDs or whatever. And then last but not least, well, this is definitely least, Extreme Quads, terrible quad racing game, but it's made by Phoenix, so I have to have the Phoenix titles. And last but not least, 13, or X111. Absolutely love this game. This is such a fun game. Cell shaded, film noir style, comic style game. And it's so much fun. The multiplayer was awesome. There was a mode called the Hunt mode where this little Grim Reaper or something went round the map, and if he touched you, you die. But when you shoot him, he gets smaller and smaller and then disappears. That was only in this version and the GameCube version, I believe. The Xbox version had a completely different sort of squad-based mode, which, to be honest, isn't that great. But this was an awesome game back in its day, and still is. This would be awesome to see come out on the Xbox One or PS4, even as a digital-only game, and get the multiplayer up and running again, because it was a lot of fun. But anyway, so that is my PS2 collection, and I've got to say, guys, I mean, I don't know how many games are here together. I know someone had commented, I think your name's Al Daft. I know it's Al something, sorry if I got it wrong again. Actually did list the first video, and I was very surprised actually. So thanks for that. If you're going to do it for all my videos, that'd be great, to be honest. I'm not telling you to do it, but if you do, that'd be amazing. I'm going to guess that I've got somewhere between 800 to 1,000 games. If there is under 1,000 games, I'm sorry for putting the false title in, but bear in mind I've got about 10-15 games as well at my mum's, and I mean, I could bring them down, and when I, next time I'm there, bring them back and, maybe show them off in a small video, but there's no point really. What I might do is if I remember, I'll add a little annotation at the end of this video if I when I go to my mum's next, and then just sort of list all of them, or even put it in the description, or something like that. And yeah, I mean, this took a while, but I'm really glad I went through and looked at all these games again. And to be honest, a lot of these games just give me a lot of nostalgia. And the PS2 is a system that, for me, started off gaming for me. I mean, when I was a toddler, well, not, probably about a year older than this little one right here, or a year or two older than him, I had a Sega Mega Drive. Well, my older brother did, so to say, and obviously I remember Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but it wasn't my console that got me into gaming. I had a PS1. Now that sort of lifted my spirits up and sort of got me into a more gaming sort of experience. It's from a young age, from about maybe like 5 to 10, and I love the PlayStation 1, and the PS2 is also a PlayStation 1 for those who don't know. But I and the PS3, one model of the PS3 will play PS1 and PS2 games, and of course the PS3 does play PS1 games. Just certain models only one model will play the PS2 games as well. PS2, yeah, the PS2 really got me into gaming, and again, like I said, the PS1 was a console that I loved as a kid, and I had some great memories of the games, but most of them I played on the PS2. I remember when I first played the PS2, I can't remember what the first PS2 game I ever played was. I really can't remember. I remember my first PS1 game was Rayman. I don't know about PS2, but I remember we had the PS2, and we had the fat model, which is the one that I use now, and the one that I actually prefer, because I've had multiple small models and they always break. But the big model, the fat model, seems to work fine for me. There's pros and cons to each of them, and I'm not really going to talk about that. That's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about the games. But, as a kid, growing up with the PlayStation 2, whether it was playing games on my own, or playing them with my brothers, or going around to my friend's house and just playing on the PlayStation 2 for the week for like, for like 5-6 hours straight was just fantastic. I've got so many memories of the PS2, and to be honest, a lot of these games I remember. It could have been literally just a game that I had rented or picked up from a game shop, dirt cheap, and then actually thought, oh, I'll give this a go, and then I ended up didn't liking it or whatever. And obviously I gave my PS2 away like a lot of people did when the Xbox 360 came out, and then it wasn't until about 4 or 5 years ago, well, maybe not even that far back actually, to be honest, I started getting my PS2 back when I started my YouTube channel, which was about almost 3 years ago, 3 years ago, and yeah, it all started because my mate had his PS2 and I just said to him, would you sell it to me with your games? And he sold it to me with all of his games, about 15 or so games, give or take. And I think I paid like £40 or something for it. And it really hit off from there. It was a slim model. And obviously it really hit off from there, and then obviously that broke after a while, so I had to get another slim model, and then my slim model was playing up. It still worked, it just played up, and then I eventually got the fat model. And over time I've just accumulated all these games. It really just started off because I was watching people on YouTube doing collection videos and pickups videos, and just going, wow, people were buying all these games and had so many games collections. And my mum and dad, well, more dad more than my mum, always used to moan at me for coming home with bags upon bags of games, and but I didn't spend a lot on them. I mean, I would go into town with 50 quid one day and come home with about 40 PS2 games. That's just how cheap these games are. Be aware though that sometimes, while you can find them in charity shops and stuff, be aware that, sometimes you might be paying more than what you would pay in CEX. Say what you want about CEX, good or bad. I can't really complain about their PS2 games because most of them are very reasonably priced, and to be honest, the sports games are like I said, 5p, 10p. So what can you get with that money these days? Nothing apart, it's amazing that all of these games costed, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds at one point. Back back in 2002, 3, 4, that was a lot of money. And video games now obviously start from £45, at least from the top tier ones, £70 sometimes. And it's just amazing how video games have changed over the years. But the PS2 is a system that I love. I don't get rid of any of my PS2 games. I've traded in one or two before, and I've instantly regretted it. So I will get more PS2 games as I see them. I try not to go mad now and get loads more in CEX. I see one that I don't have that I know is one that maybe I've been looking for. I don't come home with 20 sports games now. I try not to buy more sports games and games that I know that I won't play or will probably just sit there on the shelf. And maybe when I get more storage and stuff, then maybe we'll start doing that again in the future. But for now, just getting a few games every now and then is good enough for me. But I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed this collection. It's definitely been great looking through all these games. I absolutely am in love with the PS2, and it's a system that I say that I'm in love with it, but I haven't actually played it since I played Dragon Quest on my channel. So I feel a bit disappointed by that. But to be honest, a lot's changed since got this little one here who won't sit still because freaking Paw Patrol's on. But I really hope to see that the PlayStation 2 will live on will live on in my channel, because I would definitely be playing PS2 games, spending more time talking about the games, and actually showing off the games and stuff. All right, wiggle bum. Yeah. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. 6 parts, 6 parts, and yeah, it's done. It's done. Will I do this again in 2019? Probably not, no. Because I don't think the collection's going to change much, apart from, like I said, the odd game here and there. Maybe one hour I might splurge, but I highly doubt it. You know, we ain't got a lot of room at the moment. Maybe when we sort the house out and we get more bookcases and things, more storage, maybe one day I might do it, but for now, yeah. It's funny how I went from PS2 to Xbox, and you know, there wasn't a particular reason for that. Not because I didn't want the PS3. I think it was because my mate got the Xbox 360, and everyone I knew was getting the Xbox 360 over the PS3. I did get a PS3 eventually. And I do like the PS3, but in my opinion, the PS2's got the most nostalgia for me, and the best games, the best selection of games. I think PS2, if you're an avid gamer and you want to get into gaming in general, or even collecting games, the PS2 is a great system to start with, because, okay, yes, a lot of the graphics are outdated, but there are ways around that. You can get HDMI converters for your PS2. I've seen some on Amazon and eBay and stuff. How well they work, I don't know, but the reviews seem decent enough. So maybe one day I'll get one and see if it changes anything for me. But again, you could just have an old TV to play them on. Maybe I'll do a video on trying to get the best, you know, look for your PS2, but that's not really my forte. I'm more of the actual one who knows about the game. It's not necessarily how to make them look the best and all this backstory and stuff like that. I'm more just knowing about games and gameplay style. But that being said, yeah, that being said, guys, I think we are going to wrap this up now, and I absolutely just, I'm sorry I'm going on and on about this, but yeah, I know there's some great fans of the PS2, especially some of my, you know, commenters and people always talking about the PS2 and telling me some great PS2 games to play. I know a lot of them that you suggest are great games and would make good videos, to be honest. Trying to find the time to do a gameplay video, because it's different, because when I'm doing videos like this, I can hold my son, you know, I can interact with him, whereas if I'm doing a gameplay video, I can't do that. I can't be stopping and, you know, carrying on while he's, you know, needs the attention. So but tomorrow I'm going into town anyway, got to get a few presents. I don't know if I'm going to pick anything up, probably not, but I'll still have a look around in the charity shops, and if I see anything that's, you know, piques my interest, I might pick it up and show it off in a vlog video or something. I don't know, but for now, this video's done. Any more collection videos to come? Probably not for a while. I might do the other collection videos later on in the year if they change, but for the most part they haven't. This was more for me actually wanting to get them out and show them off and stuff like that. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed these videos, feel free to leave a like, comment below, let me know any of these games, guys. Let me know your memories of the PS2. Why do you think the PS2 is a great system? What's your favourite game on it? And in anything really. And of course, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already and join the family. And of course, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and bye bye.